What's this doing there? Now, where's my timekeeper? Because she keeps moving around. Okay. Are you ready? Tell me when you're ready to start. I can start, okay. Let me just go through the introduction part real quick, because most of you know who I am. I am Bill Sargent. I've worked on Capitol Hill for over 20 years. I worked for 2 House members, worked for a senator, worked for the Department of Commerce, Congressional Affairs, and Legislative Affairs, doing legislation for them. So I am not an insider, but I know what's going on up there. This is not a job for on-the-job training. You don't want to spend a year trying to figure out how the thing works. You need somebody who understands what's happening and how it's worked. But I am not a career politician. I'm 68 years old. I've never run for office. I never had an intention to run for office. So I am not a career politician. My first campaign was for Barry Goldwater back in 1964. I did a large youth rally for him, at which Ronald Reagan was the speaker. I am also not an attorney. I have a small business background as well. And I'm a retired veteran, 20-year retired veteran. And given the articles that are in your local paper lately, I can tell you that I am one of the 6 people who are in this race who can vote for themselves because I live in this district. Now, let's get to some issues here. I want to talk about 2 things. First thing I want to talk to you about is something that I got what I think is bad news coming out of Washington. I've just heard reports from friends up in Washington who are my friends, who have told me that the IRS is targeting conservative groups, like the Tea Parties, like the 9/11 groups, like the Liberty groups. What they're doing is they're sending letters out to these groups, especially the ones that are tax exempt, 501c4s. And they're sending letters out to them that are saying, you've got 2 weeks to respond to these letters, and we want to know detailed information about over 80 questions. Some of those questions are, who's on your board of directors? Who contributes to your causes? Do any of them work in campaigns? If so, what campaigns? Ladies and gentlemen, if this is happening, and I believe it is, we need to stop it and stop it now. This is not an appropriate use of the IRS. We should not politicize the IRS. 2 weeks ago, or actually over 2 weeks ago, I contacted the chairman of the House Ways and Means Committee and also the Oversight Subcommittee of House Ways and Means. I urged them to go ahead and hold formal hearings with the IRS as to why this is happening and making sure that they hold their feet to the fire. And John Cornyn has also written a letter to the IRS saying, explain your actions. John is right on it. We need to do that. We need to stop this. This is an outrageous abuse of power, and we need to stop it. And I can tell you tonight that in the next 2 to 3 weeks, this story is going national. And it's going to be a big story, and a lot of people are going to hear about it. But you heard about it tonight. And if you send me to Congress, I'm going to fight this kind of thing. I'm going to ask every regulatory agency, why are you doing what you're doing? And give me the reason for it, and if it's not constitutional, I'm going to hold their feet to the fire, and I'm going to try to stop it. I'm going to be an advocate for you against regulatory authority. Now, if I was to ask you, what is the most important part of the Constitution? You might say Second Amendment, might say Fourth, 10th. I would say to you that one of the most important parts of the Constitution is Article 1, Section 1, which says that the legislative authority in our government is to the Congress, no one else. What we see is regulatory agencies, like the EPA, issuing standards for how much your gas mileage is going to be in 2025. It's going to have to be over 50 miles per gallon. When they know darn well that the Congress wouldn't authorize that. The Congress, they went to Congress and asked the Congress to give them that authority and to raise those efficiency standards. They wouldn't get it. Congress will not support that. So what do? They write a regulation which has the force of law. We need to stop that. We need to one, hold their feet to the fire again, and two, if that doesn't work, go after them with injunctive power and try to stop them from doing that. And we need to cut their feet off the knees. Now, if you elect me, I will be the advocate who does that for you. That needs to be done. It needs to be done now, and I want you to help me get that done. I'm Bill Sargent. I'm running for Congress, 14th District. I'm not going to repeat all the things that Robert said about energy and all that, because he and I are right on the same position with that. Not going to repeat all that. I'm number 1 on your ballot position here in Jefferson, so you don't have to go very far down the ballot. Just go to the first one and mark it. Real simple, okay? The other thing is, before my time runs out, if you go to my website, billsargent4congress.com, you will see that every week I put up a 3-minute memo, something about current topics and how I feel about it. I'd encourage you to go, come back and visit often. Thank you again. God bless you, and God bless our nation.